What is up, guys? Tech Asian right here again. And today, after taking that test from yesterday, today's a more relaxed, less coding day today. And so, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna memorize logic, or we're gonna start learning logic as well. So, what is logic? So, logic is basically using true or false, knowing how to this is like how to write code and how to reason your way through code. So it's not really that complex. There's a lot of memorization involved. So that's all there is. So what we're going to do is it's going to be a couple of things that say like true or false or true and true. You're going to use or and statements. And basically using these combinations, we're going to learn what these do uh, in Python. So basically, we've gone through and we've seen and or and not. So those are three things we haven't heard of. And then we've already heard of the greater. We've already used the greater than or equal to symbol, and then the less than or equal to symbol. We've used the equal thing. So like instead of when you're using the single equal sign, you're basically comparing to. You're basically setting something. So like when you do a variable, so let's see. When we were saying words yesterday, so we said words equals something else, or you could just say like height or weight equals like a number. So that's the single equal sign. But when you're trying to compare two things to see if they're equal, you have to use two equal signs. So it's equals equals is basically how I'm gonna say it, but technically it just means equals. And then another thing we're gonna do is there's gonna be something called not equal, and to write that in VS Code in order to compare things or in Python in general, you're gonna do the exclamation point and then equals. So we're gonna get started. We're just gonna go in VS Code. I'm just gonna write down. I'm gonna show some tables on the screen. So if you want to pause the video then and take a screenshot or two about just it's just gonna be some tables about not like it's gonna say not false, not true, and then it's gonna be true, true, and then it's basically gonna say what it's gonna equal. So say if you type in something that's not false, so something is equal to not false or something, that just basically means it's true, obviously. And then if it's not true, then it's obviously going to be false. But then what happens when you start using or and statements? So like if it's true or false, that means if a value contains true or false, is it going to be equal true or is it going to equal false? So that's going to be you can memorize these or you can just reason them in your brain. They're not really that hard. Some of them can get more complex. And then once we do that, I'm going to show you how you can run stuff in Python and get them to work that way. But yeah, so VS Code today, I don't have that open, but just open it up. And then we'll create another folder today because we're on a new lesson or section now. So let's click file. We're gonna open a workspace, a different workspace, and then in Python we're gonna create a new folder, new, and then folder, and then we can call this logic. We'll just call this logic, and then we'll open this coding workspace. And then we can just add a file, new, yeah, we'll have a file opened in here. How about that? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna click cancel. We're gonna open new file. There we go. Or nope. Oops. Open a new folder. Open a folder. And then we're gonna open logic. Select folder. Okay. There we go. We got some hiccups in there, but overall not too bad. So let's create a new file. Let's just click here. We're just gonna call this logic.py. So one thing we're gonna do right now is it's just gonna be practice. So after you've memorized those things, so like different things, we're just gonna do some Boolean practice. So I'm gonna leave those tables up there, and just take a screenshot if you want, and just like look at them. They're not too bad, but let's go on and say, I'm pretty sure Python can run this. So like true, if you say true and true, what do you think that's gonna do? So this is obviously gonna equal a true value, right? So like if we run this, let's see what happens. I'm not sure what exactly will happen, but I'm pretty sure it might just print out true. We'll see what it outputs. Does not output anything. Okay. Let's see how we can do this. Okay. Another thing we could do is just this. This is how we're going to do it, because this is not going to print anything. So we're going to type Python into the terminal, and then it's going to print out this, whatever the information on it. And then if we type true and true, right, it's going to print out true. So we're just going to go through this. That's how we're going to do it. So if something is false, it has to be false and true, right? What is it going to equal? It's probably going to equal false, right? Yeah, it's going to print out a false statement. So let's say 1 equals 1 and 2 equals 1. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about up here, it basically means like if there's a if something is false and true, what will it be? It's going to be false, because if one thing's already false, then it's obviously going to equal false, even if the second one's true. So we'll get it as we go on. So if it's like saying right here, so 1 equals 1 and 2 equals 1. This is obviously going to be false, because 2 doesn't equal 1 is basically what it means. So it's going to be false. So it's like taking the same thing up here. But if it's like true or false, then it would be true, because one thing's already true. One statement's already true. It's like saying, basically like what's down here, if there's an or statement. So 1 equals 1 or 2 equals 1. So 1 equals 1 is already a true statement. So it's already true. It's already going to be true. But this is saying and. So not both statements are true. Just like up here, not both statements are true. One of the statements is already false. Alrighty. Test equals test. This is obviously going to be true. The two sides do equal each other. There we go. 1 equals 1. And or, no, this can be or this time. 2 does not equal 1. This is obviously going to be true, because both of them are true. If it was an and statement, both of them are true. It's going to print out true regardless. Right now, the first one's already right, so it's using an or statement. So it's going to be true. And then if something, let's do another one, true, and 1 equals 1. That's going to be true, because obviously they're both the true statements. So that's what we're going to do. There's 20 of them. So we'll crank them out real fast, and we'll go through them. This really shouldn't be too bad. And yeah, let's get started. Let's continue on. So just did that. Now we're doing our 7th one. We're going to call it false, and 0 does not equal 0. Well, both of them are false statements, so it's just going to be false. So there we go. True or 1 equals 1. They're both true, so it's going to be true. Okay. So if you guys want to pause and just like, or not pause, but like just take a break or something. I know I'm going really fast, but perhaps maybe I'll go slower right now so you can think about it. So think about this. I skipped a couple, but that's fine. So, what does this equal? So test equals 1. That's going to be false, because it doesn't equal 1, right? Yeah, okay. Because a string, a word doesn't equal 1, okay? And then, let's see, what else are we at? True or 1 Wait, I just did that. True or 1 equals 1. Okay. What about this? Test equals testing. This is obviously gonna be, think about it. I'm gonna say it's false because those two things don't equal each other. The two words, they don't match. So you're gonna get a false. So if you get the gist of this, this shouldn't be too hard. We're gonna start hard coding this tomorrow. So just be patient. Today's gonna be a pretty easy video. Not too hard. Not a hard lesson at all. So the next one is not true and false. So let's think about this. So not true and not false. Not true means it's just gonna be false and not and true. It's just gonna be false then. Wait, no, because true and false would equal a false value, and not false would equal a true value. So this can be true. Okay. That makes sense. So the way I'm thinking about this is we're not gonna just say it's not true and not false. It's gonna have to be, you're gonna think about true and false, what's inside parentheses. It's basically like order of operations. We're inside the parentheses first. So true and false, you think about it. We already knew that from before. True and true equals true. So true and false equals a false value. And then not false is true. So there we go. Let's see, what else can we do? We can do 1 does not equal 0 and 2 equals 1. So if we think about it, 1 does not equal 0, so that's true, but that's false. So true and false would give you a false. There we go. Okay, not 1 equals 1 and 0 does not equal 1. So 1 equals 1, that's going to be true. And then 0 does not equal 1, that's going to be true. So true and true, true. So that's going to be false. There we go. Okay. So just dissect each one. That's how I'm thinking about it. And we're going to crank these lessons out. Equals 1,000. So 10 does not equal 1. So that statement's obviously going to be false. Does 1,000 equal 1,000? That's true. So it's false or true. So that's going to be equal true value, and not true is false. So it's going to give me a false value. There we go. So these ones are actually getting a little bit harder. You're going to have to use some more brain power. But, good vibes only. This is pretty easy. Not too bad. And let's get through this. So 1 does not equal 10. That's true. But it's or, so that's okay. So it's going to be true regardless of the second statement, which equals false. So we have a true value, and not true can be false. False. Okay. So let's do the next one. Not testing. Equals. So testing equals testing. That is true. And Z equals a cool guy. So even if the Z person is a cool guy, I'm sorry, this can be a false. The computer doesn't agree. The computer's gonna say it's false. And the testing does equal testing, so true and false gives me a false value, but not false equals true. There we go. So let's do another one where we can do, this one's a bit trickier. So I'm gonna give you guys some time to think about this, not say it out loud or input my thinking. So it's gonna say equals 0. So what does this mean right here? So does 1 equal 1, and not testing equal 1, or 1 equals 0? So feel free to think about it for now, for a little bit. Work your way through it. Maybe even pause the video right here. But I'm gonna give you the answer now, or how I'm just gonna work my way through it. I don't really know the answer right now. So 1 equals 1, that's going to be true, and not, so it's going to equal false if if this not part is false, and if it's going to be true if the not, that second part is true. So testing equals 1. So basically we've determined that this part equals true. So testing equals 1 is false, or 1 equals 0 is false. But it's false or false, so which equals false regardless. So not false, which is true, and true. So this can be true. There we go. The other one we're going to do is chunky. Chunky equals milk. Chunky milk. And not 3 equals 4. So obviously you can see here we're using strings, we're using numbers. You can use anything basically to put in here and test it and test these logic things. So chunky milk is obviously going to be false, and whatever, it doesn't matter because it's an and statement. So if the first part's false, then the whole statement's false. But we'll go through the not part. So 3 equals 4, that's false, or 3 equals 3, so that's true, and not true is false. So they're both parts are false. There we go. And then 3 equals 3. So this is the last one. And yeah, this is basic logic in Python. So you might not understand what we're doing right now and how this just true and false apply, but this is actually really powerful in Python and other programming languages as well. Because one of the basic things to know about programming is true and false values, and wrapping your head around how something can be true or something can be false. So I was confused at first when I started coding as well, but once you get accustomed to it, and it makes sense that a computer can answer, it's basically binary zeros and ones and zeros. So it's basically exciting, like one's true, one's false. So yeah, let's see what else. So let's think about this. Yeah, I advise you to pause this video, whatever, throughout each one that I'm typing, and think about it. But 3 equals 3 is true. Testing equals testing is true. Python. So since this first part is true, we still have to test the second part because it's an and statement. If it was already false, it would be false regardless. But testing equals testing, that's true. Python, so if it's an or statement, true, you don't have to test the rest. We'll test the rest though. Python equals fun, that's false. But since it's an or statement and we already have a true, it's going to equal a true value. And not true gives me a false value. So true and false is going to give me false. It's going to return false. There we go. So that's all for today. I mean, if you want to do some more different variations, such as using this the not equal to, the right here, the one that I was talking about, the exclamation point and equal to sign, there's a lot of different things that you can go through and to understand each one. So it might seem complicated, but these are just logic stuff, and once this gets easy and second nature, it'll be easier to code down the road and not get things wrong as often. And that's all for now. That's pretty much it for today. Just keeping it nice and short. And yeah, that's all for today. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.